Hello, this is Ann Goshen from the Couples Toolbox, and I'm coming to you the day after Christmas, December 26th, and I'm just kind of hanging out at home in my sweats with my hair pulled back, sitting outside on a beautiful San Diego day with my 4-month-old poodle puppy running around here, and hopefully she's not going to knock over my setup. But I wanted to just take a few minutes to talk to you about a really, really important part of successful relationships. And I think we all want a good relationship, and part of what makes a good relationship is being able, when we are upset with each other, to keep that upsetness and the tension, arguing, for example, from escalating into more and more negativity and escalating sometimes even out of control or leading to disconnection. So I want to talk to you about one part of being able to do that, and it's actually in Dr. John Gottman's research, probably the most important aspect of being able to successfully resolve conflicts, and that is being able to make a successful repair attempts. A successful repair attempt is an attempt reaching out from one partner to the other in either verbally or non-verbally, with behavior, with actions, or with words, to connect. And the other side of it that makes a repair attempt successful is for the partner being able to receive that in a way that is positive and accepting. Not easy to do. When we're upset, when we're angry, when we're agitated, when we're frustrated with our partner, it is so, so hard to reach out in a positive way. And yet, again, probably one of the best ways to maintain a healthy relationship going forward. In fact, according to John Gottman's research of over 40 years of couples, one of the things he found is that the consistent failure of repair attempts during conflict was one of the most predictive signs of an unhappy future or of a relationship that didn't last. So how do you do that? Again, super hard, but super important when you're having tension, conflict, frustration, anger between the two of you. And I wanted to actually start by sharing an example. I had a session a couple days ago with a couple, and they gave me permission to talk about this because I thought it was, it was just such a typical kind of example, typical everyday kind of thing, but it really worked for them. They had gotten into a very heated argument the night before, and they described that argument as being fueled somewhat, which they often are, by one, they both had some alcohol, and two, there was a third party present who was observing it. So those two factors really contributed to things getting out of control. And then the third one was they both acknowledged that they had not really been putting much attention into the relationship. They just had been kind of taking each other for granted. They hadn't been reaching out to express gratitude or appreciation much lately. So even though things were okay, they weren't bad, but they really weren't kind of doing some things that would add to that emotional bank account and sense of goodwill. So anyway, they got very heated, had an argument, very upset with each other, went to bed that night. He slept on the couch. The next morning they woke up still upset, still angry. He had gotten up early and was in his office at the computer. She came downstairs to the kitchen and started making some scrambled eggs for herself and for the friend that was visiting. And this little voice, as she was making the scrambled eggs, said, I really should make some for my husband. And then that voice on the other side said, no, I don't want to do that. I'm angry at him. He hasn't apologized. I'm not going to, why should I be nice? So she had that little back and forth, and fortunately the side won out that said, you know what, we've been seeing Anne, we've been going to these sessions, we've been working on making things better, a lot's improved. I'm gonna swallow my pride and I'm gonna reach out. So she went ahead and made some scrambled eggs for him, fixed a nice plate, a cup of coffee, a little fruit on the side, and she started walking towards the office. They still hadn't spoken that day. And as she approached the open door into their office, she noticed that her husband was kind of sitting like this, his head down, his hand on his forehead. And she realized that he was in pain too, not just her, but he was in pain. And when she saw that, it enabled her to connect even more to the compassionate part of herself. And I think that's so important because it's really easy when we're angry um, to see the other person as the enemy, and we forget that very often they're in pain too, but they just don't know what to do. So she walked in very quietly, didn't say a word, kissed him on the top of the head, put down the plate of scrambled eggs. He turned toward her, he took her hand, he kissed the back of her hand, said thank you, and then she walked out of the room. And that was the end of it. And actually, they didn't even really need to visit the issue that they had been upset about the night before, because it was one of those things where it wasn't really important. It wasn't something that had to be resolved. It was just something got triggered in each of them that led to this escalation. Um, so repair is, again, when we reach out, when we're in conflict, when we're upset, we're arguing, there's tension, and we reach out for the purpose of getting back on track with each other, for the purpose of getting back in connection. And again, what makes it successful is when our partner accepts that reaching out, accepts our attempt, which in this was just such a beautiful example, I thought, that this couple told me about, because again, everyday behavior, but they both were willing to put aside um, the upsetness and to see the really heart in their partner. So I encourage you to think about this, to try your own versions. It's important to know what works for your partner. Some people really, really respond well to physical touch. Some people don't. Some people, when they're upset, that's the last thing they want. So know what works for your partner. Often what works is just an acknowledgement of one's own responsibility, an apology. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Let me say that a different way. I apologize for raising my voice at you. I realize that I need to say that in a more loving way. So there's so many ways to repair. Think about what you're already doing. If you'd like a checklist on to help you understand and identify the things that you're already doing, please send me an email at therapy, THERAPY, at annegoshen.com. That's therapy at ANNEGOSHEN.com. And if you'd like some help in understanding how this principle, this concept, can work in your relationship, email me your questions or give me a call. And I'd be glad to schedule a free consultation with you to discuss this further. My phone number is 619-708-3314. And again, this is Ann Goshen, and I'm coming to you from my practice in San Diego, California. Thank you, and Happy New Year.